For finally, Honorable Afenyo Markins, the majority leader, a petition with the call Supreme Court, a speaker Urban Backben, ruling a barbon things that were declared for parliamentary seat vacant in Abusian for Seminamo Kasei, a year 5 panel of judges, a year Justice Gertrude Utukono, Eda Enimu, Omunumnina Ato Aba Ama, a year. Afenyo Honorable Afenyo Markins na obesha nan enre ya ana Urban Sumana Backben speaker edeba betu dwa se seat ya ebi eko independent na ebi so independent eko different political party no declare vacant ho asem sorry o man mu ye nra pa nim the news ye dey update any bibia eba be so no na se me no mo kasa de abusuafo Supreme Court asori omotoso a obi etimi afrene correspondent court or dia asem ne munche ni na eba beso
etu mun fre kwekwa asante
I say the 5-member Supreme Court panel presided over by Chief Justice.
The Chief Justice herself. Okay.
Meba I mean kind stayed the execution of the ruling of Speaker of Parliament, declaring 4 seats vacant pending determination of the substantive suit. Parliament directed to recognize and allow the 4 MPs to duly represent their constituencies
until the determination of the and conduct matter. Business in Parliament
and conduct the duties of their office.
Okay. And that's the breaking news from Parliament from Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, say or the substantive application Afenyo
one more clarification. This order is not to last for 10 days as requested by the applicants, but until the determination.
In the interlocutory injunction. It is 10 days near interim injunction. And I think that is what the applicants not filed. But we are calling you into and your man the American say Supreme Court per this decision. Say Afenyo file a substantive application before the Supreme Court. Say, invoking the interpretative jurisdiction of the court to interpret Sa 97(1) is answer and same thing. And was file an application to injunct speaker ruling now. What time na all file first one na speaker man ruling. In the speaker man ruling and rano and our file fresh processes to seek to injunct speaker ruling the court not genuatum says speaker what ruling say 4 seats have been declared vacant by the tabua atosa ruling so until say substantive case now fenyo de by beka ewie no MPs now can so ma vacate your seat no or sign
so it's not vacant
and you vacant the Supreme Court
for how many days
decision and until so maka substantive issue na wie
but that is also not fair.
Supreme Court as
Supreme Court.
Oh, say me chema juni wechi. Me ka so mon kasai. But the me say until the determination
issue, the MPs will still go to Parliament and do that.
But Parliament na how many days?
And they say emfa ho.
No dey me masem.
Dabi no emfa ho. Supreme Court e dey omu decision aba. Enti we can listen to what speaker so. And I believe say at the hearing of this application the Parliament of Ghana had Omo Council or to make an argument. Yeah.
Can the Supreme Court injunct Parliament in its duties?
That's also a whole new. But
if it doesn't bother
because what the Speaker did was an exercise of his constitutional powers
as Speaker of Parliament. Yes.
Can another arm of government, as in the judiciary?
But no. I think the answer to that question is in Justice Abdullahi versus Attorney General. The Supreme Court
Parliament
comprehensively dealt with that. So when what the Parliament has done, border on the Constitution, then our more
but say
Abdullahi versus Attorney General
maybe the working country maybe say matters on interpretation there. You cannot take out the Supreme Court.
Oh, of course.
So clearly.
But Evans's question is legitimate because
you cannot interfere in the affairs of Parliament when there is no need for interpretation. There are rules and regulations there. So clearly so.
In way no.
When in the day, almost have them. Say yes, we no. Veer off the road because veer off kakrebia go interpretation. There wouldn't have been any need for all these Supreme Court interventions and all those things.
And let's see. I don't know when a Supreme Court bets now. Substantive issue. I don't know. I don't know when a Supreme Court bet. I'll say my 70 na can nine or three will be nine or 5 now. The one on the job, Mama back the way. Or say any from any quality sitting
no because on the job, Mama Parliament the pound the way.
I don't know. I think it's in the by
November
7th. Oh. It should be first or second week of November.
No,
Parliament will rise.
And so to
prepare for elections, no? And then after elections, no, January 6th. But January 6th will be a new parliament.
But last time they say Nana Nyoma Titiru.
Oh, yeah. That is I hear say some Supreme Court justice nominees were vetted. I was a parliamentary approval, and some loan will be before parliament. Okay, Kwekwa Santiaba, Kweku. Oh, now Kwekun so ntimi nyina so wana ne line nye.
Why shit?
Why shit? I get it. But
why shit? Because who share videos now?
Yeah.
And people no move jubilate.
Parliament. Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
There was a jubilation here.
There was a jubilation.
There's no jubilation.
But it can happen, sir.
No, there's absolutely even with what you guys are saying. Yeah. Court tenacia BBI TMC. So there's no jubilation. Maybe a addition for all of us practicing this kind of business.
Why am I call Supreme Court? No.
NPP business.
And where you from the Supreme Court?
Supreme Court.
Hey.
Oh wow.
More video. Okay. Evans, forward the video.
Now the NDC from corner.
Forward the man Dominic na. Okay. Kwekwa Sante. Kweku.
Hello, yes.
Yes, Otemenka.
So, what has yet happened in the Supreme Court is that the Supreme Court presided over by Chief Justice Gertrude Sokono 5-0 unanimously. They have decided to stay the decision of the Chief of Parliament declaring forces vacant. The court said real issues of natural justice, as in these 4 MPs were all not given a fair hearing yet, and so the matter also has to do with representation. They have been to represent their constituents, also not taking cognizance of. And see, even though the lawyers for Alexander Afenyo-Markin asked for an interim injunction of 10 days, the Supreme Court, in their wisdom, panel chaired over by the Chief Justice herself, decided to grant the injunction until the full determination of the suit. And so, what they have done now is to restore the status quo. That is, all those 4 members of Parliament have been directed to actually allow them to perform their duties as members of Parliament until the full determination of this suit. The case was made by Afenyo-Markin and his lawyers, led by Bakwesi Abedu and Jogate Aomoba Court, and there to make the case that these are serious issues, that they do not believe the Speaker of Parliament had the power to act the way he purported to have acted. And the Supreme Court has largely agreed with them, so much so that they have given them more than they requested for. They requested for 10 days interim injunction. Courts now granted the injunction up until the full determination, but they have made some consequential orders that the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General must file their statement of case in 7 days. On the filing of the statement of case in 7 days, all the parties should have to find a joint memorandum in 7 days so that the matter will be expeditiously delivered.
What it now means, say, MPs, were all the 4 MPs not present at the Supreme Court?
No, they were not. In fact, this action was not started in their name. Afenyo-Markin filed this action as a citizen of Ghana.
As a citizen of Ghana, okay.
About a breach of the Constitution.
Of the Constitution, that's fine.
In his words, allegation.
That's fine.
So that is what he came to court to do. The court has granted that, and the court has directed Speaker of Parliament and Parliament as an institution to allow these 4 MPs to do their work, because the Supreme Court also did what they call the balance of probabilities, to say that ultimately, if this case is decided and it ends up in the favor of the Parliament of Ghana and the Speaker's ruling, the Speaker can just go ahead and enforce the ruling.
Yeah.
But if it goes against the Parliament of Ghana, by which time these members would have been denied the right and opportunity to represent their constituents, that would be irreparable damage, for which reason they balance the probabilities and have granted an injunction.
A balance of convenience. Balance of convenience. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's okay. What it means, they say, and I don't know, was the Parliament of Ghana represented by a council?
No, this was an ex-parte application, which means that it is only the lawyers for the applicants who were heard in court, and that is why they actually asked for 10 days, because the normal learning is that ex-parte injunction of this sort only subsists for 10 days, after which you come for a repeat on notice. But the court in its own wisdom decided that this is a very important matter, for which reason they have granted it up until the end of this case and the full determination is done. Video
now sending me who lawyer Jogate in the full robe on representing Afenyo Makinana.
He was part of the legal team. He did not make any arguments in court, but he was seated right beside Caucus, the same lawyer that is representing Richard Alaska in the anti-LGBTQ case. But he was here as part of the legal team, but did not make any representation in court today.
Very well. Kweku, my nasi bibiania, yebesi amba bidin komobi. Kweku asante, ene yatenenka, reporting live from the Supreme Court. So, pictures and as videos from the Supreme Court, Oba Asempa FM, in live stream on YouTube, especially, and Facebook and so ubehu videos, where fresh videos from the Supreme Court are MPs, led by Honorable Alexander Kwame Afenyo-Markin, who is actually the plaintiff in this particular suit, Eba MPs Nina Edinechi, MPs Oba Ubehu videos of how Neoma AC Echo. Evans Mensah head of the political desk or Joy News. Evans, yes, I'm on for Kabo officially as in SMP. Charlie, but it's interesting. I mean, how things can change with this speed. I don't know if this would bring about a constitutional crisis in our country. How Parliament will react. Especially the speaker, how he would react to this particular issue.
Yeah, because the Parliament will reconvene on Tuesday.
Oh, they reconvene on Tuesday. Okay.
They adjourned yesterday to Tuesday.
Yes.
And they advertised business from when they were going on the break. And they said, Omoba, Omoba elected second deputy speaker.
Yes.
Not just say, and they say, Nan come replace on Tuesday.
Yes.
Now almost started the process to reconstitute the committees.
Okay.
So on the back of this, then so status quo. Afenyo-Markin is back to be majority leader. But you can expect a speaker would like to have a say.
A say on
definitely. For me, the big issue, they say, what say would he have?
What would he say?
When
on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, you're trying na Supreme Court, you're trying for the determination. Okay, sir. Afenyo-Markin file, I don't know.
Yes.
You took that school of thought, sir. Once the process has been commenced, it's a stay. It acts as a stay.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
And I speak a disregard there.
Because even amongst legal or not say senior lawyers, there is still a debate on that, whether the mere filing of an application automatically act as a stay. There is a huge debate on that. There have been cases from the Supreme Court, some from the Court of Appeal, disagree. There is no common position even on that, and that's why I think Afenyo was advised to then file the injunction application proper. You understand, rather than relying on you filing that substantive application for that application to act as a stay, then let me now go and file the injunction application. And then
the second question now maybe fair. Can the court injunct Parliament in the exercise of its constitutional powers?
That's a whole big it's a whole big,
for me where Speaker stands on that question would really determine whether we're going to have a constitutional crisis or we're just going to wait for the Supreme Court to determine.
But you can also look at it from the angle, say, can the court overturn something done by Parliament?
Exactly. That's a political question.
But which was done in the case of Justice Abdullahi and the Attorney General on the quorum issue and whether the budget was approved or not approved.
Interesting.
You remember?
And then let me take Professor Buchi.
Yes.
No, Kasha, there's a 40-year jurisprudence where the courts have refused.
Yes. To interfere
in the affairs of Parliament.
But when you read Abdullahi as Attorney General extensively, Justice Yoni Kolendi gave a very interesting ruling. Emma saw historical antecedents when we were a parliamentary democracy to when we are now a constitutional democracy, and the effect of peace. You know, it's a very, I think it's a ruling, a judgment. It was any pabi brain, a kind. Very interesting next few days, especially on Tuesday, what the Speaker of Parliament would say, and also what the Constitution says about a ruling of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And when you fail to, and I say you disregard a ruling of the Supreme Court, the consequences thereof, and also Constitution.
And that's an interesting one too.
Yeah.
Because for a speaker who is number 3,
yes.
So number 4,
yes,
is stopping number 2, number 3.
But you know, sir, even the ruling of a Supreme Court, the number 1 cannot even disregard it, because the number 1, if you disregard,
it's ground for impeachment.
Grounds for impeachment.
So it applies to number 3.
Number 3 as well. It's a very interesting next few days. Yeah, but I think again in Sono, Yama buy because of an issue. I was following this and I'm like because I heard Honorable Afenyo Markin speak about say you're treating unfairly. I don't know what's really the issue.
Mr. Mintiasia, up until last few minutes, Supreme Court injuncted process.
Yes.
I injuncted the execution of the Speaker's ruling.
Yes.
For all intents and purposes, the Speaker's ruling was the law in Parliament.
Of course.